On the morning of December 23rd, 1588, one of the most powerful men in France is invited for a conversation with the king. He is walking into his own death. What happened that morning in this castle becomes one of the most infamous murders in French history, planned by the king himself, carried out in his own bedroom. Blois is no obscure castle. For generations, it has been one of the favorite residences of the French kings. But in 1588, it becomes the stage for something far darker than feasts and hunting parties. The King of France is Henry III, and he has a problem: no male heir to the throne. His only surviving brother died that same year. The rightful successor is his distant cousin, Henry of Navarre, a Protestant in a country already torn apart for decades by brutal religious wars. The Catholic population won't accept it, and there is one man who uses that perfectly: Henry of Guise. Charismatic, beloved by the people, and growing more powerful by the day. In May of that year, the unthinkable happens. Guise defies a royal ban and rides straight into his own capital. Paris erupts with enthusiasm. For him, not for the king. An uprising breaks out. Henry III, King of France, is forced to flee his own palace. He flees here, to Blois, and he does something clever. He invites his rival to follow him, with the promise of peace. Guise comes. He entrusts himself to the very enemy he just humiliated. That will be his fatal mistake. The months that follow are a chess game. The king plays the part of the obedient one. He even appoints Guise lieutenant general of the kingdom, almost the most powerful position after the crown itself. But behind the scenes, something shifts. Guise receives warnings. From the papal envoy, from his own mother, even from allies inside the court. Leave Blois. Something is being plotted against you. Guise ignores it. He is too sure of himself. He thinks, the king is too weak to touch me. He is wrong. On December 17th, 1 week before Christmas, Henry III gathers his most trusted men. The question they discuss is not whether to stop Guise, but how. Arrest him for treason? Too risky. He has too much support. There is only one other option. Henry III gives the order to have his own rival killed. The problem: Guise is always surrounded by his personal guard. The only place he is ever alone without protection? The king's own private chambers. On December 20th, the king gives the order to his personal guard, a group of 42 men known as the 45. In total, about 40 people become involved in the plot. The trap is set. Now they wait for the right moment. December 22nd, the night before. The king invites the Guise family to an early meeting the next morning, using the excuse that he himself must leave early to celebrate Christmas elsewhere. Guise arrives without an escort, without weapons. Exactly as planned. The next morning, around 8 o'clock, Guise is in a meeting with the royal council. A messenger interrupts. The king wishes to see him. Alone. To reach the king, Guise must pass through exactly one room, the bedroom of Henry III himself. What he doesn't know, in that room, 8 armed men are waiting, hidden behind curtains and tapestries. 12 more stand ready in the adjoining chamber. At every staircase, every hallway, more men are posted. There is no way out. It is a cold morning. Guise, still recovering from a mild fever, wraps his cloak tighter as he crosses the royal bedroom. He has walked through this room dozens of times before. There is no reason this time to expect anything different. Guise walks into the room. He knocks on the door of the next chamber. No answer. The king isn't even there. He's waiting elsewhere, out of sight. Guise turns around, to walk back. And that's when they come at him. 8 men attack him with daggers and swords. Guise, a seasoned soldier, fights back, dragging several attackers across the room with him. But it's hopeless. He collapses at the foot of the royal bed. Legend has it the king himself walked in at that moment, placed his foot on the body and said, "He is taller dead than alive." Historians doubt this happened exactly as told, but one thing is certain: the king did not let the body rest. Guise's remains were burned and the ashes scattered into the Loire, so there would never be a grave where his followers could turn him into a martyr. The next day, his brother, the cardinal, is murdered too. The king's own mother, Catherine de' Medici, is bedridden with illness in another wing of the same castle when she hears the news. According to accounts from the time, her only response is chillingly practical. "It's well cut, my son. Now you must stitch it back together." She understood something her son did not yet grasp. A killing like this doesn't end a conflict. It only opens a new one, and this time there would be no easy way to sew it shut. Henry III thought he had saved his throne. The opposite happened. Catholic France is shaken. The Pope threatens to excommunicate the king for murdering a cardinal. Within the Catholic League, hatred toward him grows to unprecedented levels. Less than a year later, on August 1st, 1589, Henry III himself is murdered, stabbed to death by a fanatical monk seeking revenge for Guise. The man he tried to eliminate to save his throne? That same chain of events ultimately clears the path for Henry of Navarre, the very Protestant cousin Guise wanted to block, to become King of France. Everything the murder in Blois was meant to prevent happened anyway, just without the king who ordered it. Today you can simply walk into that room. No blood remains, no threat, just a quiet space with tall windows and a guide telling the story to small groups of tourists with cameras. Paintings now hang on the walls nearby, created centuries later by artists who never witnessed the scene themselves, yet felt compelled to imagine it. The fallen duke, the overturned chair, the king's cold satisfaction. History, turned into art, turned into legend. But stand there long enough and you can almost feel it. The moment a king decided the only path to safety ran straight through a body in his own bedroom. And that in the end, it gained him nothing. Which castle do you think is still hiding a story like this one? Drop it in the comments.